Happy returning to individual training Wednesday here at the MLS Facebook page and YouTube page. I'm Andrew Wiebe. This is MLS Classics Remix. You know these faces, or at least you should, because we've basically got half the MetroStars from that game. MetroStars Mutiny, that's what we're watching, May 4th, 1996. And some of the coaches here in the league. Miles Joseph, you were a rookie in 96, now an assistant on Giovanni Savarese's staff in Portland. Gio had some big moments. We'll let you watch those live. And then Todd Ramos, head coach of the Houston Dynamo. You know him from the U20s as well. Guys, welcome. Thanks for joining us. This is going to be one-sided, though. That's my one bit of disappointment. We only have MetroStars here. Where are my Mutiny guys at, all right?
Well, the Mutiny folded eventually. So.
Exactly. That's what happened. But it's good to be together again. Definitely.
I'm happy to have you. I'm happy to pick your brains. I've never watched this game. May 4th, 96. That's, I got to say, about a month before I went on summer break from third grade. So not trying to make you feel old. Just explaining why I'll be asking all the dumb questions during this broadcast. Before we get to 96 and these clubs and this game, you guys are all in the thick of things right now. I believe both the Dynamo and the Timbers back in individual training tomorrow. We'll start with your side of it, Tab. How's it feel to be back, getting on the field? The complications you've had, we're starting to at least see a little light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, well, you know, complications. If we focus on complications, we'd have the whole show on that, right? Because that's what we've been under the last 8 weeks. So I think we're very happy to be able to be outside, to be able to provide an environment for the players that's controlled and safe, and hopefully they all take advantage of that. And I'm really looking forward to be able to watch a little bit from afar, but I'm really looking forward to it.
And obviously it's beautiful in Portland. You can see it right over Gio's shoulders. The clouds, the blue sky. Gio, Miles, what are you guys up to right now? How do you feel, let's say, the night before? Is it like Christmas Eve a little bit?
It feels like that for sure, because it's been difficult. As Tab said, it's been challenging. We have to be creative to keep the guys engaged. But now that we spoke to them and they know that we can start tomorrow, then everybody's very excited. And it feels like that. It feels like the day before something big, and we can wait to start already practicing and getting into the field. The field, we went to see it yesterday. The grass is incredible. So we sent a couple of pictures to the players so they can wait to start training.
Miles, is it early or late happy birthday for you?
It's late, yeah. It was a couple of days ago. I'm only getting older, though. Jeez.
Yeah, there's only one way to go, and that's older.
That's
How you
right.
feeling?
I feel pretty good. I feel like the players getting back on the field tomorrow, right? I think they're excited to get back on the grass instead of training on concrete or whatever they've been training on.
Yeah, wherever they've been. I've talked to guys who are banging against their garage wall, who are, ordering exercise bikes, doing whatever they can. We can't wait to see MLS back on the field, but let's rewind it. Let's remix it. Let's go back 25 years almost to May 4th, 1996, the very first year of Major League Soccer. All you guys on the same team. Miles, you were a draft pick that year, correct, for the MetroStars? Tab, I've heard from a lot of different players over the course of these months that as we revisited the past in our Mount Rushmore series, that you signing with the league was a big step for them. Marcelo Balboa said once you signed, he was like, okay, I got to do this. And Giovanni, you were with the Long Island Rough Riders, waiting for this to begin as well. As we see one of the many head coaches that would come out of this game, Frank Yallop. Tell me about this match for you guys. And we'll start with you, Tab, and then chime in whenever you want. What did this match, this day, this time in your life mean?
Well, I mean, it had a lot of special meaning because it was a good opportunity for me to play at home at Giant Stadium. I grew up only about 5 miles from Giant Stadium, and I had always wanted to play there. And obviously, when I signed with MLS, my number one goal really was to be able to play at home in front of the family and friends and all that stuff. And so having the opportunity to play this game, I know that I was really excited about it. It was right at the beginning of the season. I think this might have been my second game with the team. And then the opportunity to play with all these guys. We had a good team. We knew we had a good team. So I think, really excited to get that going.
How's a rookie feel in the first year as a pro, in the first year of the professional league? I mean, you had to kind of just be swimming at times, huh, Miles? Just figuring it out as you go.
Yeah, it was amazing. Obviously, playing with players like Tab and Gio and Donadoni and Tony Meola and Peter. I mean, there's for me just growing up watching all those players with the national team and then being on the same field at the start of this new league was amazing. Hey, is that Queiroz, the linesman right there?
S.C. Baharmas refereed this game. That ought to be a name that a lot of our viewers know. Certainly you guys will know that as well. The mustaches were better in '96, I got to say. Much, much better.
They look good.
Gio, you started on the bench in this game, but you had scored the only goal in the first 3 games for the New York, New Jersey MetroStars. It had been all 3 losses. So you guys didn't have a point. In this game, of course, people know the result. You get one via a crazy draw. Where was your mind at this time?
No, for sure. A 4th match of the season. We until this point didn't win any matches. So everybody thought that this was going to be the huge game, especially because it was Tap's second match with us. Also because Donadoni was his first match, playing with us. So there was so many people, the excitement in the stands. So the expectation is this is our game. This is the one that we want to get as our first win. But we play a very good Tampa Bay side, who for me was one of the best teams that year, if not, the top team that year. So it was exciting to be there. For me, it's starting from the bench. Yes, of course, I want to be a starter. But at the end, it was great to be in that environment with so many people at that particular day.
Nice little cut there, Tab. Got into space, little turn.
Yeah. We were trying to figure out before when we talked about the game briefly, but we were trying to figure out kind of the positioning, and I think I was playing on the right side, but obviously with the freedom to go inside a lot.
Eddie Firmani was the coach of the MetroStars at this time. I say at this time because 20 days later he was not the coach of the MetroStars, and Carlos Queiroz came in. You can see the officials here. S.C. Baharmas, a legend. I'm not even going to attempt that third name. That assistant referee is going to get his acclaim there just from folks reading it at home. Tell me about MLS and the decision to play in the league and the build-up to all this. Like this is after it had already started, and there's Gio on the bench thinking, "Man, I wish I was in this game." What was it like for the league to start, to begin, to sign, to know that you were a part of something that was brand new?
I think you had the perspective of
anybody.
What I was saying is that you had the perspective of kind of 3 different ways of how the league started. Tab, I think if I remember, was the first one to sign out of all the players. So a national team player coming back. I was one of the foreigners. At that time, we had only 4 spots, if I remember correctly, for foreign spots for players to be part of the MLS. And then you have Miles coming from college as well, from the youth national teams. So in some way, different perspective, but I think all were very excited that the league was starting. We just, we're so happy that finally we can see a pro league in the U.S. back again, and hoping that this league will grow, to be what it is today.
Got your moment in the sun there, Miles. Nice little,
that ball was
close up. He was free. He was going down the left. Cross is coming in. Don't worry about it. Of course, Carlos Valderrama, one of the big names. You mentioned Roberto Donadoni. We'll get to those guys. Tab, I want to ask you about your decision to sign with MLS because, like I said, there's been so many people who've said to me, hey, when he signed, I knew that the floodgates would kind of open. You wanted to play at home, but this would have been a little bit of a risk for you, in your career.
Yeah, I think a little bit. It could have been. I mean, I was convinced that I was doing the right thing, but it was a little bit of a risk because, I was at a good club. Tigres is a great club. We had won the cup. We had just lost in the semifinals of the Liguilla, so we had a good team. I had played at Betis before, and I felt like maybe, I could do another 3-4 years abroad. But, I don't. I really don't question that decision. I think it was the right one. I mean, we're all sitting here now. We're somewhat relevant, let's just say, 25 years later. So I think that's a good sign. And, the league is getting better. And you look at where we are now, it's a different world.
Miles, in the build-up through your college career, and as you start to think, okay, I'm, youth national teams, maybe I can be a pro. What part of your mind did MLS occupy? Was it sort of like, oh my God, there's a place for me to go, or?
And that was pretty much it. I mean, we had a group of players in college that were with the Olympic team, and lucky for us that we had a competitive environment to play in at that moment in time. And then, you know, we were starting to kind of, because American players, like going overseas, like, you know, you had guys like Tab, and I think Pete was somewhere over there for a little bit, and that you know, relationship over in Europe didn't really start yet, but there was some clubs that were interested in American players based on like U20 World Cup and watching you go through the next couple of years. But, you know, that was it. When the league, you know, came about, it was very exciting for us.
My favorite part about watching these outside the soccer is the attire in the stands. Just to think back on what people were wearing in that moment, what I was wearing, what my parents were wearing, I guarantee you they were rocking like fanny packs and Teva sandals. But this is an interesting crowd in Jersey.
And also,
but look at what we're wearing, right? Because
Yeah.
those jerseys
those are
were
beautiful.
down under your elbow. You know,
They were so
not
heavy.
easy.
If you put it
Yeah.
on, it was so heavy. When it got sweat, it was incredible.
Those were not exactly, let's say, performance gear.
right.
They were a little bit more made for the streetwear, but I would pay a lot of money, certainly for the Donadoni MetroStars kit, but for just about any of those out there. Do you guys still have these kits? Are like stuffed in a closet? Are they in storage?
I have mine. I have a couple of mine. Not sure about these guys, but yeah.
No, actually, Miles gave me one of mine, right, Miles?
Yep.
Because
Birthday
I
gift
gave
last
away,
year.
I gave away a lot of them, and as a birthday gift last year, Miles gave me back my shirt that I gave him a few years ago.
I think, Gio, I have one of yours still that you gave my son. So if you need one, you won't get it
Okay,
from
thank
me.
you. Exactly.
If nothing else, we've greased the sleds
course.
to get Gio his shirts back, man. Who are you giving them to? You must have really been distributing those things around.
My
Just give
son
it a,
loves
you know-
Gio. Well, you know, Gio, you don't have to answer this. So everybody loved Gio. Everyone loved Gio, and everyone wanted Gio's jersey, and my son was one of them. So yeah, that's what happened. Everyone wanted his jersey.
I had one. I used to sleep in it night before games.
Well, it paid off now, right?
You mentioned it. This is the Shield-winning team for Thomas Rongen in Tampa Bay. Valderrama, Roy Lassiter, 27 goals that year. An incredible team. You guys had Zach Thornton in goal, which I had forgotten that Zach started with the MetroStars. Of course, Miola was the big sort of goalkeeping star at that time. What were the expectations heading into this season for you guys? It's hard to know. There's no, you know, every team is brand new, so it's completely different than what we have now. What did you feel was a reasonable expectation?
Well, I think for me, you know, just knowing that we were going to have guys like Roberto there and Caricola there, and some more experienced guys that were coming along, you know, and, you know, Gio and Tony were coming from a winning team and being used to winning. I felt like coming back home, I felt like we were going to win the championship. That was the expectation.
Yeah, and that's what everybody thought. I mean, because we really had a good team. We had you know, great individual players. I think we had a little turnaround, right, Tab, Miles, at the beginning. Some players that came in and left. But I think the core of the team was a very good team for sure.
Yeah, it was, there was, you know, obviously a different league. There was a lot of turnover at different times. You know, teams kept changing every couple months.
Miles, you start this game, and did you feel from the start you had that opportunity to be a starter for this team, or was that something that came by surprise to you?
I mean, I always go in with the, you know, to compete for a starting job, and I was away quite a bit before this, like with the Olympic team, because I don't think the Olympics had happened yet, and so you know, I was really unsure with what my status was, and as even involved with the team at this point, you know, so I was just happy to go in and train, and then when they tell you you're starting, I was more than happy. But you know, it was great. I mean, it was amazing. Like playing with these guys. Just looking back at this game, I'm like on the field with these guys playing. Look at the skinny Zach Thornton.
It is that's a very svelte Zach.
Yes.
Yep. But yeah, it was. I was unsure. You know, I was unsure of what, you know, I mean, a lot of these guys were slated in the starting lineup, and I was kind of a transient player at that moment, like with the Olympic team going back and forth, just coming out of college. So I had a lot of work to do.
When I say the name Roberto Donadoni, what do you guys think from this time of your careers?
I think for me, pure class. You know, he was class in every way, on and off the field. I think on the field, probably one of the classiest players the league has ever had. Obviously, it's hard to compare at times, but, I mean, there's just really nothing that Roberto did wrong. I mean, he was just a great player in every way.
Yeah, I feel the same way as Tab, a true professional. At that moment, he was still in his prime. He was playing for the Italian national team. He went to the Euro Cup that year. So we knew that we had a tremendous player, but the way he also conducted himself with the class that he always showed outside and inside the field, it was a great example for everyone. And for me, that I grew up watching Serie A from Venezuela, it was great to have a player like him, you know, being your teammate. So he was a class act, and I agree with Tab that one of the best, I think, in the history of MLS.
Yeah, and for me, being a young player and not being around many pros, I mean, he was like having a father figure on the team, somebody you could always look to, and he would work with the young guys and stay after training and always trying to give us input, how to get better. I mean, he was an amazing pro, and I mean, you can watch him just in this game and the things that he's doing. Like, he had it was soccer to him, and that's the way he played the game. It wasn't like, he thought he was bigger than the game. It was amazing. His work rate and the things that he did on the field was an example for all the young players coming into the league.
Do you guys remember him?
Oh,
you guys remember him taking free kicks in practice?
Yeah. And especially Tab, I remember him, and then when Branco came in, it was the right and the lefty for Tony Meola, because he had to stay with them, and it was Donadoni with the right, then Branco, and incredible. I mean, Tab also got together sometimes there as well. So,
yeah, but I didn't belong. I didn't belong there. Those guys didn't miss.
Incredible.
Yeah, you guys remember the training? After training, it was Branco, Donadoni, and they were taking free kicks, and Rhett Hardy walks up, and he's like trying to take a free kick with these two, and he backs up like maybe like 10 yards, and he just starts to go to the ball, and he twists his ankle. And he goes down. And he's
God he twisted the ankle before he hit the ball.
Yeah, before he even got to the ball.
Before. Thank God.
It was amazing.
I was half expecting to say, and then he just ran in the locker room because he saw, oh, wait, that's Branco and Donadoni. That's a World Cup winner and one of the best players of all time right there.
Tab, this is the one. The guy tried to take you down. They didn't call it. There we go.
Oh.
You charge a referee?
Ooh. Can't be happy.
That's a foul.
We haven't even talked about
How
Peter
is that
Grace
a no call? How's that a no call?
Different
Thank God
time.
we have
No
the
blood.
VAR now.
No blood, no foul.
That would
VAR.
By the way, anybody watching here, if you want to get at us, ask some questions of these guys, anything and everything, just about, I would say, is up for grabs here. Hit us up in the comments section on Facebook or YouTube. We got folks coming through there, and they'll get in my ears and let me know if we have something good for Tab, Gio, or Miles.
So, Andrew, I'll tell you a little story. You know, I had the fortune for a period of time to be with Donadoni, his roommate. So it got to a point in which he came up with the idea of let's cook pasta in the room. So
in the hotel room.
In the hotel room. So he would
Hold on.
bring.
Okay, well, rewind. Where does an idea like this come from? There's got to be a restaurant at the hotel, right?
So it came in at one particular place, and then this kind of the mini stove came in, the pots, the sauce, and then we'll prepare that pasta in the room, and we'll invite some players to come into the room to be able to enjoy the pasta prior to our meal with the team. So that was it became some kind of tradition after.
Were you trying to say that the meal with the team was subpar? You had to replace it, or is this just we want our pasta the way we want it?
I never said that.
Andrew, you gotta remember that the standards for the players didn't change until Beckham got to the league. So the hotels that we were staying in,
Right.
didn't have the best food.
Yeah, I don't think the pasta was al dente at the Holiday Inn.
It was in the dente.
Little overcooked, huh?
Yeah.
You just see Martin Vasquez here, and then, of course, our own Greg Lawless there on the bench for Tampa Bay as well. Got his shield in.
Yeah.
Peter Vermees is in this game. I mean, I did the research. I think if you give Steve Ralston credit for the interim tag with San Jose, you have 6 future MLS head coaches who saw the field in this game, which is pretty incredible.
Right.
So we were all telling everybody else what to do.
It happened a lot of times.
Yeah.
Who was the biggest personality in that MetroStars locker room? Both from just, the guy who was just a little bit out there, but also more from just a vocal leadership standpoint. Who stood up and did the talking?
We had a lot of personalities, right,
We did.
Miles?
We did.
So I wouldn't say there's one. You had a lot of, strong personalities in the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had obviously, we had Peter there, we had Tony Meola there, myself, we had Roberto. That although he was a little bit of it was his way of saying things, that he was a little bit more on the quiet side. He was still a strong leader, I felt. So there was a lot of leadership in this group for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to get the PV stories at some point here, just because I covered him for a couple years in Kansas City, so I saw that side of him. We have Josh from Facebook here. Did you guys all know that you would go into coaching eventually? Miles, did you have a feeling that this was going to be in your future?
The way I was man-marking Ralston in this game, I don't think so. My rookie season. No, but I love the game, and, you never try, you don't think that far ahead, obviously, like when, your first season, but towards the end of my career, I did know that I wanted to go into coaching.
What about you guys, Tab?
I didn't. I never thought I'd be a coach until I retired, really, and I began to take my coaching licenses sort of by accident to help. And I really fell in love with the game and the learning about it. And so I was not, I don't feel like that was in my mind at that time at all.
Interesting.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't in my mind also. I think we were too young at this particular point. But what I do remember when Queiroz or Carlos Alberto came in, I used to write the practice. So whatever we did during the day, I will keep it in a book, just to keep it as why did we do this, why did we do that, but not with a thinking process that I will become a coach. It's just something that I was interested in learning more, and that's it.
We have another question here that I thought was interesting, because this is a weird time, sort of, in MetroStars history. There are a lot of weird times, if we're being honest here, but this is a question from, let's see, where did it go? I missed it. Miguel Romero on Facebook. This is for all of you, but he addressed it to you, Tab. What was Eddie Firmani like as a coach? Because Eddie didn't last long. You mentioned Queiroz. Eddie was out after 20 days after this game, May 24th. What was it like to be a part of this team in that first year, in the first couple months, as your head coach changes almost immediately?
Yeah, so I think these guys would know better because I had just arrived like a week before this game. So I only had him as a coach for a couple of weeks. But I do remember Eddie from having been at the Cosmos before. And I felt like maybe he was used to, he was used to coaching the best team. And I think it's not easy sometimes for coaches who are used to coaching only the best players and being at the top all the time to go into and coaching, start coaching guys that you kind of have to put together and have to get the most out of. And I think he was having a difficult time with that. But I think Gio and Miles would know better.
Yeah, I think I probably was the only one out of the three of us that did the whole preseason. And Tap is completely right. I think the problem was he was used to coaching a team, the Cosmos, that practically the players in some way coached themselves. That he had a lot of high-profile players, and maybe coaching this group a little bit at older age it became a little more challenging. And what I remember the preseason, I mean, we had the easiest preseason out of all the teams in MLS. And then when we start playing, I think we saw a little bit the difference physically than the other teams. So I echo what Tab said, and I think was one of the issues with Eddie Firmani.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was back and forth again with the Olympic team, so I didn't really have a good. Gio would be the one that would know what, the most about that. I only knew when I came in, and seemed like a great guy.
Did you guys see it coming? Did the coaching change? Or was it a surprise to you when?
To me, it was a surprise at the time, but I think it might have been because we went right to Queiroz from Mutiny, right?
Yes, right away to Queiroz.
Right, and so I think I remember thinking at the time that maybe Queiroz was something that might have been in the back burner already, and it was just a matter of time, like whenever he agreed, because Queiroz was really an amazing coach. Although I felt like maybe on the personal side, maybe he hadn't been around enough to have those close connections with the players. But as far as the training sessions, he was amazing. I mean, everything had, like Gio was saying before about taking notes, like every single practice had a purpose. And I know that that's the way we all do things now, but that wasn't the norm 25 years ago. And I think he was really ahead of, on the coaching side, he was ahead of the game at the time.
No doubt, and we got lucky to get him at that particular time because he was a very qualified coach, and the way he structured the practice, as Tab said, it was great. He was trying to figure out how to rechange the team, and I think Eddie Firmani, there were some moments that transpired during that period of time that gave us a little bit of a feeling that a change could have come.
Yeah, from a young player standpoint, he was amazing with us and spent a lot of time with us and giving us instruction.
Would you feel like, Miles, you got the most of from him? What was he like getting, like really identifying in your game and your approach?
The things I remember, there was a rotation between actually Tab and I and the outside back that was something that he had us doing. Basically just filling the spaces, and it was a simple thing, but I felt like for me it just opened up kind of the thought process and the games for us a little more. So like when Tab would come inside, or I was inside, just playing off different lines, something that at that age I was never exposed to, and for me that was one of the things I thought, like he would walk you through these things in training, and it was the first coach that could actually do that, and really basically put you in spots and then move you and then put you in another spot, and it all made sense.
Hey, this is a good game, by the way.
Yes, it is.
It's going back and forth. I mean, we're just
good
talking
tempo.
about, I'm like,
good tempo.
It's not bad. Yeah.
I remember Rubencho played those first 10 games, right? And then we got Pitufo de Avila, which we don't talk about.
Yeah.
And Pitufo, what a player. Rubencho unfortunately didn't have the same fortune scoring goals, but then Pitufo, what a player as well.
He was amazing. He was a great finisher, and he was a great player to combine with.
I have a question here from Sagini. I think I know which Sagini that is. Wants to know how many cigarettes Donadoni smoked at halftime.
Zero.
Curricula.
If it would have asked another player, I would have said a few.
Yeah. No, but I can tell you this about this team, that I remember we were practicing free kicks at one time, and Curricula was on the wall with his phone. You guys remember that?
In Giant Stadium, yeah, of course.
We were doing free kicks, and he was on his phone during he was on the wall, but on his phone.
Yes, and going down a little bit, like every time the ball came through him,
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That was the first time I've ever seen, walking off at halftime, someone hand a player a cigarette and he starts smoking all the way into the locker room.
He's a legend
Different times.
in a couple different ways. Curse of Curricula, of course, for those of the people that don't know out there what that is or have heard it with the MetroStars, then the Red Bulls. It was an own goal in the very first game laid on by Curricula. Lost the game. We got a close-up on Peter Vermees, which gives me the opportunity. You know, we know him now as longtime head coach of Sporting Kansas City, but what a career he had as well. What was Peter's place in this team, and when did he switch to center back this year, or was it later on?
This year, I think. If I remember well, he started. Actually, the first game he played defensive mid, I think, if I remember well, and then he went forward and then back all the way to center back at the end of the season.
I mean, that's honestly incredible to me. You'd never see that in this day and age. Like I can't imagine any of you guys would have a player that would be your D mid one game to start the season, then you push him up top, and then later on he's your center back. What was it about Peter that allowed him to do that? Or was it just necessity? You needed somebody, and he was that somebody.
I mean, I think the thing Peter had was that, you know, and you see it as a reflection as a coach as well. I think he had that mentality to be hard all the time, and whatever was asked of him, he would just do it as hard as he could. And I think that's a good trait, because every coach wants a player like that you can just kind of stick everywhere, and you know they're going to give everything. And so I think he had that important trait, and that made him valuable in every line of the field.
And with that said, also I think he was tactically savvy as well. So he will understand, I'm not defensive mid, I need to play like a defensive mid, and this is my responsibility here. And I think he did that very well as well.
This Tampa team
I also think he had good leadership qualities too, especially to command that on the back line, which I think we were missing early on. As they were both saying, I just think he had a good voice back there too to help keep things organized.
Watching Lassiter right there remind me of a little moment, when Valderrama used to tell all the time Lassiter, you don't think, just run, get to the space, and I'll put you the ball right there and score goals. That's it. So he scored a lot of goals in this season, Lassiter.
Thomas Rongen told us on Extra Time on Monday that when he found out, the head coach of Tampa Bay at this time, when he found out he was getting Valderrama, he was disappointed because he wanted to play, total football, Rinus Michels, Cruyff. He wanted to have 11 guys who could all do everything, basically, and he knew that Carlos was only going to do a couple things, but those things he was going to do were so beautiful that once he got him, he just said, hey, everybody else, figure out how to make this guy as good as he can be, and you'll be as good as you can be. Who was Carlos Valderrama in your minds at this time during the league? We'll start with you, Miles, and then go to Tab. Did you know Carlos?
Valderrama? Oh,
did you know? Did you know? Yeah.
I mean, just watching him with the national team, he was quiet on the field, but for me, he was like a guy that his passing was unbelievable. Like, he could play the ball anywhere. I think Steve Ralston was the biggest beneficiary too. Like, he could play Ralston into space because he was so fast, and he would latch on to something, I just think his ability to see the game was he was playing the ball into spaces before guys were even running.
Yeah, he had eyes in the back. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, for me, it was, he's the type of player that nowadays you really don't have on teams. He was your typical 10. That's kind of, because even if you watch this game, he touches the ball very little. He's not involved very much in this game. And the next thing you know, he's involved a few times and they score a bunch of goals in a row. Nowadays the 10 is a little bit different than it used to be. You look at guys like Nico Lodero or those type of 10s that kind of fall behind. They all do a lot of work too. And that was, Marco didn't come, Echeverri didn't come back as much. Pibe didn't come back as much. So it was a different time where a lot of teams looked for this type of player. Obviously, there wasn't many of him in particular because there's only one. But when you looked at 10s, you look for that guy that could just be sitting around so that you could find him, and then everybody else did all the running, forward and backwards. So it's hard to compare him to someone in today's game.
And
I don't think I've seen him sprint yet.
And also, I think any forward that was playing with him ended up being a top scorer in the league. And it wasn't, a coincidence. He just, his distribution, what Miles and Tab said, I mean, he had eyes in the back of the mind, on the back of the head. And I think the best part is to take away the ball away from him. The way he protected the ball, the body, the way he used it, it was incredible.
Nice little ball there from him.
Yeah, that was a sprint, by the way. I think that's as fast as it gets.
Yeah. Most of it, honestly, has
So
been
you
walking.
saw one. Yeah.
He's mostly walked, and then they find him, and then he turns, and he hits the through ball.
Yep.
But the look, man, you can't stop looking at this guy. And for those of you that are a little confused because the clock's counting down, this is early days.
Yeah.
Clocks go down, not up, in these days of Major League Soccer.
A few different rules.
How much promotional work were you guys doing at this time? Because new league, I mean, I would think they would have you. They'd be having you as much as possible in front of media all the time.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. Obviously, promoting the league was really important to get it off the ground. I know that it started for me back. The first pictures that I took with this, I think this exact uniform on, were at the Volcan at Tigres. So I was still playing for Tigres, and actually MLS at the time rented time at the stadium at Tigres to take the first pictures for promotional work here. And then when we got back, there was a bunch of stuff going on, obviously.
Big chance coming here.
Yeah, I was one of the younger guys, right? So we had they would send us out on appearances. It was incredible. I was in the I remember going in the MetroStars. They had this yellow cab that they would take to appearances.
Oh, that's right.
And they took us in the yellow cab to Harlem onto a like this field in Harlem, turf field, and like I don't think anybody ever like knew what the MetroStars were or anything at that point because it was all new, and I don't even think the kids they didn't know who we were or anything, but it was just like those small little appearances that we would do that we would, you just kind of get into different parts of the community and then try to get exposure. But it was, it was really interesting times what they were, some of the appearances that we were doing.
I mean, there's a ton of people in this stadium. I do see some Colombian flags, so I think there's a number of them that might be there for Pibe, but
we had, if I remember correctly, an average of about 30,000. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. Yeah. By the way, how many back and forth chances here, chances to the other goal, right? Back and forth.
Yeah. I think this was, if I'm not mistaken, I think this might have been a midweek game, and we had about 30,000.
Right.
There's Donadoni. Yoink, that's mine.
He was all over the place in this game, everywhere.
How would you describe the MetroStars style of play in '96? What were you guys trying to do?
I think if anything, we're trying to connect. It was supposed to be a possession team. I don't think we're ever instructed to not do that or to play a long ball. I think, to give Eddie Firmani, credit, he tried to put the best players on the field that he could at all times, and to have players connect and play forward. We were not a defensive, waiting and counter team. So yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty free in terms of attacking.
And the style, prevailed even when we went to play away. It's not that we went anywhere. I don't remember one time going somewhere to say, okay, let's defend. We played the same way everywhere that we went to play. So I think it definitely consisted in trying to have the ball as long as we could, keep possession, but being in some ways direct as well.
Well, even the announcers are a throwback.
Who was the other center midfielder? Ivan McKinley?
Yes, Ivan McKinley, number 8, right?
For the Fusion, yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That guy was he
He played in New England as well when I was there. It was it was strong.
Yeah, when I did the all loathed 11, basically guys you love to have on your team and you hate to play against, I texted a bunch of old guys and a lot of them came back with Ivan McKinley. That was a pretty consistent answer, let's say. Koeman was a consistent answer there too.
When Pereira was our coach, we played. I'm not sure if McKinley was on the New England then or Tampa, and they had a corner kick, and he was marking me, and I started to make a run, and he punched me in the side of the head, and I went down. I was knocked out. Got up. I guess I came off the side of the field, walked around all the way in front of the bench, and Pereira was going to take me off, and I'm like, nah, I'm going back in. And
that was with Ivan?
Yeah, dude, I don't know if you remember that, but it was like I didn't know where I was for probably at least 5 minutes, and I went back on, and all they were telling me was like, don't do anything. The guy's, that guy hit you again. I was like, okay. Oh man, that was one of the moments I was like, okay, this is playing with some big players here.
I remember the same thing with Koeman. Every time that I play against him, during those years, I would get hit everywhere. And I remember I used to go strong on him, and he enjoyed that. I mean, one time, I think one game, I was trying to go away from him. He was like, "What happened? You don't want to fight today?" He was always ready to give you everything that he had.
It was amazing.
Did you play against him in Mexico at Tab? Koeman?
Against Clay Koeman?
Yeah. He was at Cruz Azul, no?
He was a captain of Cruz Azul for a while.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think around 93, 94, he was the captain of Cruz Azul. I think he was already not there by the time I played in Mexico.
We have a bunch of people asking what you guys think of the shootout, and we're going to get a shootout in this game. But as it started, this league started, and you're practicing these, I'm sure, and training and preparing for them and having them decide games. What'd you think about that?
Did we practice these?
No,
I don't remember practicing.
I don't remember practicing.
It could decide the game. How could you not
train? Yeah, but we didn't need it.
We did practice a couple times because I remember a couple incidences, of chipping
I don't even
Miola.
remember. I swear.
Oh yeah.
I remember a couple.
You tell the story
with Tony.
I need that story. Come on.
Hopefully Tony's listening, but so I think it was with Queiroz. We would have to practice these after training for a little bit. But we would go, and then obviously, Tab's like, practicing these things, and then all of a sudden, Tab's got to go, and Tony's in goal, and Tab takes a touch, and Tony comes flying out, and Tab just chips it over him. It goes in the goal, and then Tony will throw his hands up. Tab, are you gonna do that in the game? Blah blah blah. Just totally, just so infuriated that he just got chipped, and Tab would be like, "Yeah, I'll do it in the game." Yeah, I'll do it in the game.
And then in the games I missed half the time. I don't even know.
No.
What was the strategy? What was the winning strategy for the Tab for the taker? I mean, you missed half of them, you say, so maybe you didn't always have it, but.
Yeah, I don't think I think I made more than half, but mine was to try to dribble the goalkeeper. So I tried to take a touch, get the goalkeeper, go to one side, and just shoot it.
Yeah.
Then you had others that they just tried to chip it, but I remember there was a few that from the beginning they just lift the ball up, all the way up, let it bounce, and the goalkeeper didn't know if they have to come out or not. And then sometimes chip him. I think John Harks did that one, no? Or I remember a couple of players, or Jeff Agus maybe.
Yeah, for the guys who did that, they were waiting for the keeper to come out. But if you lifted it and then the keeper stayed on the line, then you're done.
Running out of time.
So now you got 2 seconds left. Yeah.
So Andrew, the other part which was interesting was some players just look for the PK because they try to dribble the goalkeeper, kind of look for contact, go down, and there was a PK right after the shootout.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah,
The feet, huh?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you got guys that kind of fake an injury towards the end of the game, and they go into the shootout with the injury, and they start limping, and then they then they have an out in case they miss it. Vermes. Remember Vermes on
old
the
hamstring
playoff
grab?
He hurt his ankle and he still took the kick.
Yeah.
That was the winner. That was the winner, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the playoff game.
Chris da Silva.
Yeah. Yep. You would have had that cross there, Gio, near post. You were in there. He was a good player, though. Ruben.
Rubencho?
Wasn't his name? No,
Yeah.
Rubencho? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ruben Darío, I think, yeah.
Couldn't score.
Did he score one goal, right? Or no? No goals. No.
I just remember when the last day I saw him, but I don't know if I can tell that story. Walking out the training, then he turned around and walked back in.
Yeah, looks like he had no goals, 3 assists, in about 800 minutes, based on what I'm looking at. Could be wrong, but I think those are from all 35 games, league and playoffs.
Right.
Top of the box, the left-footed shot goes up over the crossbar. And it looks like Carrico is the man who's down injured.
Interesting jerseys that year, no? I mean,
I love them. Like in a more throwback sense. Maybe we wouldn't love them if they were coming out today, but I like that they were all just completely unique, different, out there. You knew who you were watching when you saw the MetroStars or the Mutiny play.
right.
I mean, the half and half. Come on, that's with like the jagged line.
I like it. I like
Classic.
the MetroStars jersey. These.
And the logo changed after, but before was the taxi was part of the logo, right?
Right.
Yes. After it changed.
Alongside the box for Tampa Bay. Sends it upfield. We have 20 seconds to go here in the first half. Vasquez over to Valderrama. And then Ralston on the far side.
You guys all have some sort of connection to the tri-state area or even closer. Were you getting a lot of ticket requests at this time? I mean, there's 38,000. I went and looked it up. 38,000 for this game.
So that does it. One half.
Were you getting a lot of requests from people? Oh, by the way, that's a after the whistle banger off the post. You kidding?
Yeah.
And that's one thing, Andrew. As soon as you saw the clock coming down, whatever you wear, you tried to shoot. So it was crazy. I think a few injuries happened during that time.
Yeah.
0-0 at half. Of course, it will not stay that way. We got a bunch
I
of
didn't
goals come
realize
up real
this.
quickly.
Right.
What do you
didn't
think,
realize
what do you-
that many goals and only in one half.
Well, and they're all in like 4-minute spans. Boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
They all come very, very quickly. We'll get to those early in the second half. We'll keep this thing going. Remember, YouTube, Facebook, get at us in the comments. People are feeding me those questions so I can ask Miles Joseph, Giovanni Savarese, and Tab Ramos. MLS Idol coming up on Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Twitter, Facebook, Susanna Collins, Charlie Davies, and Quinn X12. I think I'm saying that right. Andrew Farrell, looks like he might win. Stefan Fry, Matias Rossetto, and Diego Valeri, all with special talents, hidden talents, you might say, off the soccer field. You can vote on Twitter or Facebook. Use that hashtag and tune in at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday for that as well. I'm interested in what Matias Rossetto's doing. We haven't really got to see him in MLS so far. What do you guys, before we get to the second half, what are you guys missing the most about the game? What's the thing, whether it's the little, off the field stuff, in training, competition? Start with you, Miles. What are you missing?
I just miss the environment, seeing the guys every day at training and working with the players. I think that's you know, that's kind of every day. You always look forward to getting to training and being involved with the players. And that for me is the part I miss the most.
Yeah, and I will say for all of us, I mean, the locker room, the friends, the teammates, the time that we spend together, but also I think the competition in being inside the field and having that pressure of trying to perform and try to be part of the team and missing, scoring, you know, everything involved in what a player is inside the field, that adrenaline, I think it's something that I miss as well.
I agree. For me, the competition, you know, just getting to the week to week, trying to correct the team, trying to fix things, trying to create, you know, different types of training sessions, and really just smelling the grass in the morning. You know, when you come out, grass is freshly cut, and you know, it's just something about it. You know, that just kind of, you know, it's life for us. I think it's life getting out on the field.
Quinn 92 missed it on that one. Not very good with the Roman numerals, apparently. MLS Idol, 7:30 p.m. Tomorrow. Apologies for that one. Quinn, let's get to the second half here. That's where the goals are. That's where some of the fun's going to come. Now, that was pretty wild to get things started. Yeah. Gio, you're going to come off the bench. Yeah, no, the quality is there. The curls are there, always there. Still rocking those to these days. What are you doing right now, Gio? Are you warming up? When do you expect to come on in a game like this? Are you thinking, okay, Eddie, let's go. Call my number, man.
Yeah, so not yet. I think that the game's still 0-0. I think we were playing, you know, a good first half. So there was not, you know, I wasn't warming up yet. I think after 5 minutes, we went just the regular warm-up time for us to move around. It was after we were losing 3-0. You know, we'll watch a little bit more. But after the game changed a little bit, that I started warming up more to enter the match. And then I spoke to Tony, but I'll tell that a little bit later.
Look forward to that one. This is Phil Shane, I want to say, and then Old Onion Bag as well. I'm spacing on his name. He's with the Union now, but
Tommy Smith.
Yeah,
Tommy Smith. Yes.
Oh yeah, this is an old school duo right here, still doing their thing too, 25 years later.
Yeah.
They did every game for us. And guys, do you remember also the Samba group that used to be in the stands every game? The Samba group that used to be on the opposite side.
That's right. Yeah.
Every game with their, you know, batucada right there, constantly.
Yeah.
Is that Joe Tolleson too, or no?
Yes.
Is he in there?
Joe Tolleson.
Joe Tolleson, right.
Yes.
Oh man, he's still doing it too, NYCFC.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Makes me feel like a baby, man. Woo! Who, me? How was the game different at this time? You guys talked about sort of the training and the coaching being different. There's Martin taking a pretty good one. How was the game itself different? The way it was called, or the way it was played, or the way that you approached it?
I feel that it wasn't, you know, back then it wasn't as tactical as it is now. At least in MLS it wasn't. Mm-hmm. You know, it was a little bit more free to play. I think there wasn't as much emphasis, obviously, on the physical side. You know, now obviously with keeping up with the workload of all the players, and you know, everything has to be exact, and you can't push a player too much on a Thursday because he did so much on a Wednesday. I think it, you know, obviously it was more about, hey, how do you feel? Are you good? Then you go, you know, and it was different like that.
Yeah, I agree with Tab. I agree with Tab completely. I think, like, I don't remember one time us being in the gym with a whole plan together. You know, this is how we're going to do this or that. And our fitness coaches also, I think I remember a lot of them were mostly those that used to be in NFL, coming back, transitioning. So they were trying to, you know, figure out things as they go.
Yeah. If we were in the gym, we were playing basketball.
You remember? And King College,
Yeah.
great, or in the pool.
Every day.
Or in the pool.
Every day.
Yeah.
Who's the best basketball player on this team? Who's got game?
Miles was
This
good.
team,
Miles was pretty good.
Tony Viola was good.
Tony, yeah, he was an
Tim Howard.
I mean, Tim Howard.
Eventually,
I mean-
Tim. Was Tim on this team already?
He was training with us.
He was
Okay.
training, yes.
Yeah.
Could you see what was so special about Tim, even in these days?
He was athletically, he was a freak. I remember the first time I saw him come into the training session and make saves. I actually couldn't believe how quickly he can get from one post to another. Like when he like his athletic ability was definitely different.
Yeah, his reaction very quick. I think he was 19 years old, if I remember correctly, at that time.
He was
so
really
quick.
raw. Yeah.
Yeah, very raw, but very quick. Ooh.
Oh.
Every time you talk to
I
Tim
think
about it,
now-
Tim Mulqueen is always the name he mentions, and for obvious reason. He's the goalkeeper coach for this team, no?
Yes,
Yes.
the goalkeeper coach.
Yeah.
So that, Miles, was Mickey Carey's last game this one? I was trying to remember. I think he,
I think it might
right?
have
This
been.
is his last game, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be. I
don't remember any
I don't-
other. I think that he made a decision after this game. I'm not playing soccer anymore. I'm retired.
Yeah.
Really?
And he's done pretty
walked
well
away.
for himself. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a different time, Some players, you got to remember, it's the first year of the league. Some players had businesses that they were running beforehand and camps and all that stuff. And I think actually that he couldn't afford to play in the league. He was making good money in his business and all that. And I think he just came to time. He certainly belonged. He was a great player.
Great player.
But I think he just got to a point where he just said, I can't afford to be in the league. I got to go back to my businesses.
Yeah, he had to make that decision. The business was doing very well, and he had to make the decision to stop playing. But he definitely belonged.
I missed the part, Miles, where you explained what position you're playing in hoops. Like you're guard. What do you? You say real quiet when these guys talked you up.
Nah. Those guys were better than me. Yeah, I was a point guard growing up. Played high school basketball in New York and all that, but we had a good team. But different level when you're playing against like Timmy Howard. And, Zach was a pretty good basketball player too.
That's true. Yes.
I mean, I think Timmy was like 5-star in his state for New Jersey.
Yeah. And you know who was great later on? I think you guys were gone by then, but Clint Mathis was a great basketball player.
Oh, really?
Yep. Besides being the best player.
Yeah.
that we
What
ever
a good
had,
player. Amazing
he was
player.
also a great basketball player. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a question from Coy Evans on Facebook. How good was Roy Lassiter when you guys played against him? Was he as difficult to mark as people say?
I think
Look
he
at him
was.
here.
He was difficult.
And that's going to be
There it
the
is.
first goal.
Good timing. Good timing, Andy.
That's what it's all
He
about,
was
man.
very
It's
quick.
business, right?
Difficult to mark because of his speed.
He had great timing on his runs. And I think playing with Valderrama was the perfect combination because he was extremely fast, great timing, good finishing.
And a lot of mobility.
He hits that,
will
and I'm
be,
thinking he floated
everywhere.
it, and he just put it right on his
Right.
head.
Good left foot. He was very dynamic and a good finisher.
Diego Vieira with
Whose
the goal
man
there.
was that?
Man, we didn't deserve to be down in this game.
No. But it changes completely, no, in a matter of minutes.
When you come in,
No. I mean, now, because the game was very even. I think we had even more chances. But
Right.
then after this goal, it kind of changes a little bit the game.
It comes thick and fast for the Mutiny. No doubt about that. We're about to have a Valderrama moment coming soon, too.
So in the 51st minute, it is Diego Vieira with the assist to Roy Lassiter and Evans Wise. It was ended up the last
Oh, he didn't touch him.
Ooh,
Not even a whistle.
no foul.
No,
You see that?
Now once again, Tampa Bay. That is Ivan McKinley works it into the box. Knowles heads it aside, and now Zahn tries to move away from Wise. He gets it to Keites. At the midfield, the Metros will have to push forward now and see if they can equalize. Hernandez into the box. Doherty easily grabs that one.
Hernandez plays it far too far ahead of everybody. Dropped it in on the 6-yard box. That needs to be coming about 10, 12 yards out to give the players coming and support an opportunity.
How stretched out.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I
all
was
of a
going to
sudden
say.
the field got
The
big.
spaces,
Yeah.
spaces all over the place.
Now once again, somebody moving below the Metros defense. That is Steve Rose.
That's Ralston right there, the right back.
Yeah.
Once again, bolts off the line.
That was me sprinting to defend that
Yeah,
one.
sprinting
Oh.
back.
I was just in the box on the missed cross too, and I remember sprinting all the way back to get in front of that.
Causing enormous problems for them back there.
How did you approach at this time, Mark and Raleigh? What was sort of the job in your mind?
It was kind
As
of
here
an
comes the
interesting
PK.
one. Ah, dive.
We'll revisit the marking Steve Ralston one. We gotta focus on
Yeah.
the PK. I think VAR is letting that one go. No check here. That's a good call.
And here you see Lassiter's coming in.
I think Roy was clever to
What a
leave the leg
dive.
there. What a
Oh,
dive.
What a
He was
dive.
clever
Roy
to
sold
leave
VAR
the
there.
leg.
Roy sold it well.
Yep.
The arms above the head. That really got me. No doubter.
Also, when you
Get the
see
dog, get the
you know,
dog off the field.
when you see Zach Thornton coming at you, it's not, you get kind of scared a little bit.
He went to take
Yeah.
the shot. And now it will be Tampa Bay with the opportunity.
Pretty incredible the goalkeepers you guys had. If you look back at history with Tony and what he would do in the league, and obviously Zach, I think only one of 2 guys to win goalkeeper of the year twice.
Olympic team in Atlanta
Right?
Oh wow.
wants to prove his medal right here.
Valderrama's going to take
Him and Donovan Ricketts.
I don't know how many people know how great of a lacrosse player Zach was. You know, he was a 3-time All-American in college in lacrosse too, and soccer.
Wow.
I had no idea.
Yep.
Interesting.
I had some friends that played at Syracuse against him, and they were like, "You just got out of the way when he would come running with the stick."
Yeah.
He's so big.
And neatly puts it past Thornton. No chance for Zach Thornton.
I don't know how we're down 2-0 in this game all of a sudden.
Tampa Bay a 2-0 advantage.
Well, this is as smooth as you'll ever see a penalty kick hit. Valderrama comes up to it.
That hair is just so perfect. Stays out of his eyes, bounces around. Volume, man, volume.
Wants to go to his left. Valderrama goes to his right, and he puts the bulge in the Oranian bank. Nicely struck kick by Valderrama.
He was the MVP of that year, right? 96, Valderrama, if I remember correctly.
Could have been. Yeah, because Tampa
Yeah.
didn't win, but they were the best team.
They were the
Yeah,
best
Shield
team, yes.
winners, then lost to DC.
Yeah.
The defense being caught out. Nobody's covering them up.
All right, Miles, back to Ralston. I want
Well
to know.
done.
I want to.
To try and stop Roy Lassiter, but came up
Well, with Ralston we had a lot of respect for each other early on because we were with the Olympic team together, and I think he right before this game got released from the Olympic team, so I was really familiar like with him, and we played against each other every day in training. So like, as you can tell, I'm man marking him basically because I know how dangerous he is. He's a obviously he turned out to be an incredible pro in the league, and he just was really fluid with the ball. Like when he would start running with the ball, it was almost like he was gliding through people. And at this point, I just knew him from playing against him every day in training, and had a lot of respect for him.
Together. They just need one goal for a start, just to get things going.
Hernandez.
What, did Donadoni just get walked off that free kick?
Yes, by Rubencho.
Oh my goodness!
Donadoni tries to find Hernandez, but it is headed away. Now all the way downfield. As Hardy makes the run to it, sends it back to
Were you guys feeling pressure at this time to get a win after 3 losses to start? Because you didn't have a point yet. It's just the 4th game of the season, 4th game of the entire history of the club, but
there was some pressure for sure.
Yeah.
It was the feeling that because the anticipation of this match was great, and everybody felt, okay, this is the game, that we're gonna win. Tab's second game with us, Donadoni just being his first match, so there was a great excitement around the game, and being now down 2-0, it felt flat. It felt a little bit difficult after a very good first half, and definitely not deserving being 2 goals down.
Where did you feel the pressure was coming from in that time? Like, is it ownership? Is it the club itself? Is it the fans? Is it media?
I think a little bit from the fans. Yeah. Go, Tab.
No, I was going to say that it was also a lot from ourselves, because we felt like the responsibility, here we are, we're the New York team, we're a big team, we have big players, we're supposed to be winning, we're supposed to be getting to the top, and a lot of the pressure we put on ourselves. We wanted to win for the fans.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We wanted to be winners. The fans, really were supporting us in a big way the first year. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to provide those winning games that that we're expecting, and it was difficult at the beginning for sure.
I'm definitely going to look up Evans Weiss right now because he just stiff-armed a dude to the ground, stayed balanced enough and put it on the money. He's had some decent moments here. TNT. Some time in Germany, it looks like. 4th tier. Pro 40.
The MetroStars need somebody to step forward. They need a leader. They need somebody to pick the ball up, carry it in, and stick it in the net.
Joseph Doherty comes out, tries to punch it out of the box, and Evan Wise will push forward for Tampa Bay. Roy Lassiter, lonesome at the midfield. Now Valderrama charging down the right side.
How quick. How quick, amazing.
Yeah, Rangan said that he wanted to be a possession team, but as soon as he got this roster, he realized they had to be a counter-attacking team. So we were just trying to get down the field in 3-4 passes and put the ball on goal because we had the legs and we had the brain in Valderrama. Find him and run.
I think at some point also they got Galderisi this year, the Italian forward.
Yeah.
So
Giuseppe
I think also
Galderisi.
he added something good to this team as well. Giuseppe.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, here it comes. Look at that.
Nothing but business on Gio's face. Ooh, there's a good clash.
Gio is always ready.
Like we're going to get some substitutions for the MetroStars, perhaps to try and help out the
Kaides was really good, huh?
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Clever with the ball. He wasn't very fast, but with the ball, he was very smart.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, I'm getting off. Forget it. Gave the ball away.
It's we got this old 8-bit resolution, Miles. Nobody would have known. You could have just stayed quiet.
I know.
It was really Donadoni's fault. He didn't understand what you needed.
Yeah, what was he doing? I mean, come on, everybody knew where to go. He said, no, Joseph. Good give and go by Vermes.
Yeah, well done, Peter. Great heel.
Did you hear the announcer?
Yeah.
I think Vermeer's on the turn and shoot that himself, but it played
Not sure. Not sure Peter knew much about that one.
Cutting in, he takes the shot, trying to square it on the far post.
And there a shot for Tampa Bay.
I'm getting anxious for us to get back in this thing.
I know, that's
know.
what we're waiting for.
They're taking out Rhett Hardy.
Yeah, so Ralph told
You
me a fullback out, and then we start playing with three in the back at this point.
Three in the
So
back.
he told me, Ralph told me, Gio, you're going on top. We're taking a fullback. Red Hart is going out, and he goes like, let's throw everything that we can at them. We're gonna risk it all.
So we went to 3-4-3 right here.
I think so. The only thing that I can tell you is that we had three in the back.
Did everybody else know that? Or just you?
No, look,
I'm
we
on
have three guys in the back.
Oh yeah. Now I'm on the right side, I think. Yeah.
Before we got on here, Tab, you said you hadn't watched this game before, and Gio, you got a little bit, and Miles, I don't think you said you did, but you guys, man, the memories are coming back, huh? This is jogging it for you, huh?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
This is so great. to watch.
Wasn't this like about 3 years ago, or
Yeah.
a few years?
I also think it's funny to hear you guys talk about it with your coaching hats on now. What were,
Yeah.
what were we transitioning about? What are the directions from the staff? What are we doing?
Another funny thing is the fans, when they keep showing the fans, you're like, oh, I remember that guy. I remember that fan.
That's true.
Like,
That's
oh,
so
I remember
true.
that guy.
Yeah.
They showed Tony's parents a couple times too on here. I know.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Pete,
Peter.
I've seen that before.
how many
just on
how
the,
many
just
times
on
have
the
you seen that in his
sideline.
coaching box?
Yeah.
There you go, the Samba group.
Diffley is coming in, and they're going to take out Vieira.
Yeah.
They've done their work. Diffley's going in, he's going to defend.
What was the fan base like in those days?
The sign's been held.
They were loud. They were into the game.
Rough Riders. He also did full caps with the United States.
But I think also in some cities, correct me guys if I'm wrong, but it was more about the ethnicity of that city that made the crowd be a little bit different from city to city.
The referee gives them an escort to the
And there's also fans, that started this year that were the MetroStars fans that still call themselves Metro fans. You
Right.
know, 25 years later, they're still calling themselves the same and been following the team all along.
Speaking of that, we had Mark Fishkin in our comments section, and he wanted to know about that 96 playoff series against DC United. DC would win, of course, MLS Cup, and they would knock off both these teams, MetroStars and Tampa Bay Mutiny. What do you guys remember from that 96 playoff series?
Against DC United?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that I think it was our second. I think it was a home and away at the time, and I think in our
Three
second
games.
game in the away, it was three.
3 games. So we
Okay,
played
so
one
that-
at home and 2 away.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. But I do remember how we got. Maybe I don't remember as much, but I do remember kind of how we lost. That I think it was Rob Johnson that fouled.
90th minute.
From behind. Yeah, it was like a
90th minute in the game.
minute. But it was one of those penalties where you can't even argue with the referee because he literally just kind of killed Marco from behind, and that's kind of how our season ended. But it was at a moment in the game we just had gotten back in it, and I think that we looked like the team that was going to go through, and obviously we had that foul and then we got knocked out. It was really disappointing because we knew that for our fans that the DC United rivalry was the most important one for us, and that hurt a lot actually.
I think one of the biggest rivalries in MLS at that time. I mean, I remember games being very physical, very strong, and it went either way. A little bit for them, a little bit from us. and that in the playoff we won the first one, we lost the second there, and I think we were 1-1. As Tap was saying, that the third match, Pitufo I think scored the goal over to tie, and then that PK killed us at the end.
Yeah, because if it ended 1-1, right? Or were we up 1-0 in the last game, or was it tied 1-1?
No, we tie and we won in shootouts. We tied 1-1, and then we ended up going to shootouts, so we won that match. And then we lost, I think, 2-1 or 1-0 when we went 2-1 when we went there.
Ooh. That's a little hint for what's to come, huh, Gio? Just trying to get a bicycle in any way you can, man.
I was trying everything that I could to make the few minutes useful.
Where do you think that rivalry came from? Was it the fans that ignited it? Was it both those teams just kind of having a mutual dislike? Because it lasted for a long, long time, but at this time you don't have all the years of history to rely on.
I think the type of players that both teams had. I think we're very competitive. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the players, and I think it was the fans. You know, the fans really they hated DC, and they made it known. And our fans traveled there when we played there. It was a big deal. That was
right.
Definitely, like Gio says, it was. I mean, I don't want to call it the biggest rivalry because everybody thinks their games are most important. But I think it was a big rivalry at the time.
That was a Meg right there for you, Tab.
You know, I was always good for a couple of.
Then you looked me off and went inside again. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's always incredible to watch these games, and you see these like close-up shots. And there's Martin, who had a really good season for Tampa Bay, and Frank, and just all these sort of figures. You guys have, of course, included that, you know, are shining lights on the field in this moment of the league's history, and then start to transition and find leadership positions elsewhere. Long, long threads, man. We're getting close here, though. We got some moments of glory coming for you.
Comeback.
Yeah, I know. You know, the game really didn't change that much. You know, according to the result, it kind of like the game has been played so far exactly the same, pretty much the whole time.
Right. It's not that Tampa start wasting time. We're winning 3-0. Right. Let's slow the game. No. They're still, moving the ball, trying to score another goal.
Right.
Honestly, I'd love to see some games played like this right now, just to see what it would be like. Some caution thrown to the wind, eliminate the midfield. Let's just get at it. See what happens.
Look at this.
I mean, this is crazy.
See, we have the 3 there.
Steps in to take it away from Valderrama at the top of the box.
Well, you can see Valderrama now has changed his role just a little bit. I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to score for all his fans here. He has moved himself up forward. He's hanging around.
I'm getting exhausted just watching this, seeing the size of the field, because there's so much room.
Look how quick it's from one goal to the other goal.
Yeah.
Is this the goal?
No, I think it's coming up in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's hard. I know what minute it would be if the clock was counting up, but when it's counting back, all of a sudden that live math gets a little more difficult.
It's difficult. No, I think this is the goal, no?
It was an own goal, right? The first one?
Yes.
Bingo.
Great ball, Tap.
Well done.
Well, you know, it's the spin I put on it, you know.
Always going to be the substitute forward that's grabbing the ball and sprinting back to the center line, man. Gio's like, let's go. My legs are fresh. I'm ready.
No, and I remember that goal gave us such an energy at that moment that we felt, wow, we can do it.
I think it was after the second goal. I just remember thinking, like, we might win this game because I felt like we had so much momentum at that point.
And we had, I think, a few chances afterwards as well when we were,
Look, this is the playing out of the back before playing out of the back became a big deal.
Oh,
There it is.
who are you
So I
going
remember
to, Gio?
that Tony Meola. So Tony told me before I got into the game, he said, come on, go inside there and try to change it. Score some goals, and if you score a goal, you got to make sure that you run to the bench and jump on me. I remember jump on him. He had like a cast in his ankle. He almost missed the ankle again.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, it was a handball, I think. No handball.
No handball.
It's all right. It wasn't a penalty though. So
That arm's not a natural position. I think that these days with the new rule change, you can't gain the advantage in the box. That's got to be that's a little hand of God there.
Who played the ball in the box?
The cross from the left, no, from the right side.
Yeah. Is that me?
Of course. Milo, was
I
you.
don't
I think so.
That's a PK. If that was a PK.
Oh,
No, I
there's
tell
the
you.
classic. There's the classic look for blood right there. There's got to be blood here. Where's the blood?
This is crazy, this game.
Look. Hey.
Ole.
He looked me off again.
Number two.
He looked me off. He looked me off again. It was wide open.
After the make, you said, that's it. I did it.
You got to hit it at that point. It's like crossing somebody
That's
up in
it.
basketball. Once they fall, you're shooting. Doesn't matter where you are on the court. Go for it. Woo! Yes, sir. I mean, that's
Ralph,
an incredible
I told
finish,
you.
Gio.
Yeah, Ralph is going, see, my system works.
I told you, my sister. That was crazy. That moment, the environment, the fans, our team.
You know, it seems like for the last 20 minutes, we've been watching highlights of a season instead of just watching a game.
That's true. Back and forth, chances.
I mean, walk me through this,
finish.
Gio. This has got to be instinct. I mean, you're just reacting to the trajectory of the ball. Is that something that you were trying to do a lot? Because you've got 2 bike attempts in this game. One came off.
Every time that I could, at that time, get a bicycle in, I will try it for sure. But at the moment, I remember that Rubencho was very good, in the 1v1, and I believe if I wait in the second post, once he's able to get free, put the cross in and try to get into the front of the defenders, whatever way it's going to come, I got to get to the ball.
One thing we always remembered if we were on the field and Gio was on the field, that anything we put anywhere near the 6-yard box, he would get there because he would dive in there with his head, his feet. However he had to get there, any ball you put across there, he was there.
That's true.
Where's
And
that
most of
goal
your
rank?
goals were
Miles.
yeah.
For you, Gio, where's that goal rank in your career?
Oh!
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was Peter, no? Look.
Come on, Pete. That's got to be a goal.
You see the
Imagine-
Kaitis knew where to
imagine if it
run
was-
on that pass I made. You see, Kaitis made the run like Donadoni
Right.
didn't make that run before.
Yeah.
Great cross. Oh. What a good cross.
Oh, Pete, come on! You could have changed history. Look
But
at
what
this.
I-
This is
Putting
what
it on him right
amazing.
now, though.
The energy of the
Amazing.
game at this stage was incredible. Now, look at the fans were going crazy.
Everybody's standing.
Anybody who left here would be mighty disappointed. Watch Donadoni walking through. He's going to be taken down there. It's a
I think Tab, you talk Roberto out of this and you take it.
sandwich. He's just taken down
Me?
two players.
I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Here it is. There's a conversation
I shoot
happening.
this.
Watch this.
I think you whip it in, maybe? Yeah, you dink it in.
Oh, he's setting the bicycle.
Another one.
Oh, it's a set play. Set play.
Yep.
Set play.
Was talking Donadoni out of it part of the set play? All right, you guys, you fake a conversation. Tab's going to convince him.
Yeah.
Great ball, though. This game is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's it's got a little Liga MX energy to it.
a
Like
lot of it.
Ligia,
Back and
just
forth.
like what midfield, who's playing there, just 5v5 on both halves.
Yeah, one thing about the fans, obviously now it's 3-3, and of course they're going nuts, but the fans were vocal the whole time. The whole game, you can hear them. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it feels like last couple minutes of stoppage time for the last 25 minutes. Just
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
go
No, we threw
forward.
everything at
Don't
them.
mess around. Be direct. Get numbers. Don't worry about the... Good tackle.
At that point, I think we were just defending with two. That's it. Everybody else was.
this is unbelievable. I looked you off there, Tab, too. I should have just played it. To
Yeah. Yeah.
How many times Wise foul you like 5 times like that? No, Tab?
Oh, my
Right.
God.
No
It was the whole
card.
game.
No
It was
card.
the whole game.
And we still got a penalty kick shootout to come. So if you're watching this at home, don't go anywhere. There may not be any goals from regulation left, but
By the way, SC Bahamas doesn't even move them back 10 yards.
Oh, he's given the goal kick. It's a goal kick. It is off from East. That's what I thought. Ramos disagreed. He might have been booked for that action, throwing the ball up against the sideboard.
I gotta say though, I like Eddie Firmani's fit on the sideline. He's got like the old school sneakers going, the full tracksuit. He definitely had a look.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can't have a tie. There's no such thing as tying Major League Soccer. This one goes to a shootout if the scores are level. Hernandez, top corner, sends it in, knocked out by Tampa Bay. You can see the Mutiny back on their heels, Tommy. They're definitely just trying to hold on for this one. As Donadoni puts the shot line.
Yeah, at that point we were trying anything that we could, trying to shoot from anywhere.
Did you catch that? Tony's got the big bling on the wrist on the bench. Doesn't got to play. Make sure he gets it out there. Show off the jewelry.
That's right.
What was life like off the field for you guys in this era? Like you were a rookie, Miles. What were you? I heard stories from like the Eddie Gavin and Mike McGee New York years, and they were pretty wild. What was it like off the field for you guys?
Yeah, we were pretty low key. Yes, Tab and Gio. We were in bed early. We were real pros back then.
That's right.
It was
Early at
for
6
us,
o'clock
like
in the
the-
morning.
Yeah, for us, the younger guys that were just out of college and living in New York City, it was a good place to live. Let's put it that way.
Where were you in the city, Miles? You lived in the city?
We lived right outside in the Hoboken, Weehawken area.
Yeah, perfect. Yep. Jump over the river.
Yep. Yeah, it was a lot of nights through that tunnel.
Thing about that tunnel too is it closes down kind of early, so I wouldn't say that I know about this, but sometimes you gotta kill a couple hours until those early morning commuters are doing their thing.
Yeah. I was early though. I was early to training. I get there early.
Where were you guys training at?
In New Jersey. Keene College.
We had one of the fields that we kind of renovated a little bit, so that was our training field on a constant basis, and a couple of trainings in Giant Stadium or in the bubble.
Good irrigation. The fields were soft. It was real nice grass. Locker room situation was pretty open and spacious.
Keene University now. I'm sure you guys haven't been there in a long time, but it's changed a lot. It's huge now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. At the time, wasn't too big.
Yeah, it's much different now.
And there was a restaurant close by the Argentine place, right? The top. You remember that one?
I
think it was an Argentine place. Oh, it was Uruguayan. Yeah.
Yeah. Where we went to eat all the meat.
Oh, Tab. That's unbelievable.
Do you see that one?
I just played around him. Yeah, that was pretty sick.
There was also that pizzeria right down the street. You guys remember?
That was the best.
Lunch a bunch of times. Yeah.
That was the best.
Tab, I think I crushed that guy for you, by the way. That has been hitting you all game in this tackle.
Yeah, it was a bad time.
I think I went knee in the... This guy. Look at this.
That was a hit. Back across his body.
We should have scored 7 in this game.
Yeah. We had so many chances in the second half towards the end.
They took away your first one, Gio. Gave it the own goal.
Yeah, I think they gave it back after.
Gio fought for that one for about 15 years. He finally got it. I think Gio got it about 2012. About 2012 got ruled goal for Gio.
Yeah, I gotta say, Evans-wise, probably on this era of instant replay, I'm giving him a red card in this game. I'm coming back and saying, Essie Bahamas, you missed it, man. You missed it.
I mean, he didn't even come close to the ball there. I pushed the ball away, and he just came.
He has a couple of this game where he's about a foot off the ground.
Well, I tell you what, Tampa Bay needed this timeout at this time.
Yes.
Glad I could do this for you for a little bit, Tab. Get this guy off the field for you.
Yeah.
Every team needs an enforcer, Miles. Every team needs one.
That's right.
Is that Brian Maxell?
Maxell, look at Maxell.
Yeah, right. Maxell in the back right there. Yes.
Yeah. He's got a turtleneck on? Or he just doesn't have a neck?
He was done.
I mean, Tampa's had chances too, though. They just can't.
Yeah.
That final touch is not there. Valderrama had a couple himself. He keeps putting people through.
Valderrama never really took shots, right?
Not too many that I remember of.
They were all pass, he always passed it into the goal. Queiroz. tell you, Queiroz wasn't playing like it was his last game.
No, I think he decided after. I don't think that he had any intention to retire.
How did you find out he retired? I mean, because just in this sort of era, present day, I mean, it would be completely bizarre and crazy for someone to come in 4 games in after they just started and be like, walking away. Not injuries, nothing else. Did he announce it to the team? Did he just not come back? Or
I don't remember all the details, but I do remember a day after or 2 days after speaking with him and saying, I cannot just do it with the salary that I have. And leaving the business, I have to concentrate in the business. It's going really well. The academies, the club that I'm running, and he decided just to let it go. Unfortunately,
He had a long commute too from Connecticut
right
to training every day. That hurt him too.
Into the box, it's knocked out, and Donadoni from the top takes the big shot. Just
Oof, that one came close.
He could strike a ball.
who's what are the rankings for best shootout options on this MetroStars team? Who's the best, and then on down? Because we're going to go there.
First.
I would have to say probably Donadoni, probably the best
Donadoni.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we I think had you, me, Miles, Tony, Donadoni. I think Pitufo after also.
He was good.
Oh, afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, Pitufo came after. I think Red Hardy took a couple of them.
I remember missing one.
Me too. Look, Peter's so tired now. He's limping already.
You could tell. You could tell just his leg reaching out
He
to try to
ran-
get to that ball.
He ran so much in this game.
Ooh, somebody get a touch.
I wonder what the actual shots in this game were, like the actual stats. A lot of shots.
I might be able to. I might have that here. Let me take a look. Let me see if I can get it. Oh no, they don't have them in here. I'll tell you, it's hard to go back and find the lineups, accurate ones, the
Right.
stats on these old games. Like, you got to really be digging around.
Crazy.
How would you be dealing with this game in your current positions as coaches, watching this from afar? I mean, as you guys are watching it, I can kind of hear you feeling like, "Oh my God, what? This is something else."
I mean, I think personally, you would be, obviously if you're the home team, you're going for the win. You know, I mean, you have the momentum going. Obviously, you're risking in the back, but I think you're still going for the win. And if you're the away team, you just want to hold it tight and hope for the counter. They have the right 2 guys for the counter. You know, if you do 2 lines of 4 with Valderrama in front of the second line of 4, and then Lassiter all the way up top and everybody else defending. You know, that's how I would go.
Yeah, trying to adjust a little bit tactically. You know, as Tab said, I mean, you can tell that that Tampa is tired, that is having a difficult time. If they can be a little more organized defensively and utilize those fast plays that they have, you know. But as the MetroStars, you got to go for it, 100%. You were losing 3-0, you were 3-3. You got to take advantage of that.
Oh, good header. Great header.
Oh, Gio took a swing at somebody. He swung. You see that?
I think I
That's
saw
a
him. I
penalty.
think he grabbed. I think he grabbed my shirt and I turned around. I think.
They gotta show a replay of that.
Oh man, every time I see Koeman's hair, I'm just in awe. It's like the mini Valderrama. Doesn't have the same hairline as Valderrama.
Did we
There's
just
the
lose
final whistle.
Tab?
I think
They're gonna. I'm sure they're trying to get him back in. This is honestly a pretty.
Right.
I think his earphones might have gone out. Here's Zach getting himself ready.
Oh yeah.
Stick with us here, folks. We got about a minute until we hit these. Until we hit the old school shootout.
This was amazing.
Unbelievable.
The one thing we wouldn't be doing right now in coaching is playing for the shootout.
For
keep
sure.
it 0, or keep it 3-3, and we got the shootout. We'll win the shootout.
Would you want to see something like that come back? Is that even in the realm of like, oh, that could be interesting, or would you say no way, no chance?
No, for me, no. I mean, I think it's exciting, definitely very exciting, but I don't know. I don't, I don't think that it should be part of the game. But I got to tell you that at this moment, people were very excited that there were some shootouts.
Oh,
I mean, look, even now, we put out any sort of video about these old school shootouts. People all over the world want to see this. You know, it's got that bizarre factor. You've got star power too in a lot of these games. It's like a weird alternative reality that people want to dip their toes into and say, you know, what if the Champions League final went to shootout? What if MLS Cup went to some, crazy half-field run-up shootout? Who would be good? Who wouldn't be good? Which goalkeepers?
And you will have for sure a winner, because we used to celebrate right after we won a game like this, for example, in shootouts. So for us was a victory.
Not trying to outguess the coach, but of course you have to also have a look at Savarese. He's a man who's really made a lot of things happen when he
You see?
got in there, didn't he?
yeah.
And you two in the back.
We got the same haircut again.
That's it. You see?
Yep. Andrew, my son and daughter cut my hair like a week and a half ago. They shaved it.
Well, you can't. I'm only showing you the good side of mine. I had my wife do it with a beard trimmer, and the first go round was pretty poor. We had to take it down pretty short, pretty high, and the back of it is a little rugged. But that's the back. Nobody has to see that. I'm just happy.
She got the
happy
job
to
done.
be able to sleep at night.
She got the job done. Ours is a lot easier.
Yeah, I don't think she fully understood how to use the clipper, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think she's never had that done. I'm very accustomed to like the process and how it's supposed to go, and trying to explain that to her was a little bit difficult, but I would give it a solid B.
Pretty good. For being the first time, no bad at all.
Yeah, no doubt. No, and with bad equipment, I was having a hard time cutting through my 3-month mop that I had going on up there. I had a Fu Manchu too. I shaved that one off. It was a pretty poor excuse for a mustache, but this is the time to try those things. The Samba section is legit.
Yep.
And they used to, if I remember correctly, they didn't start playing from the beginning of the game. They came like at the 15-minute, so they made a grand entrance to the stadium, right? If I remember correctly. It's not that they started from the beginning. And when they went inside the stadium, the atmosphere changed right away.
Yeah, I think you're right, Gio, on that. I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I think Martin led them in minutes played this year. I think he had like 6 goals, 7 assists, or something like that.
Who's that? Martin?
Martin.
Yeah.
For those later rivals.
He played a couple of games center back also, if I remember correctly, that year.
I think Zach was pretty good in these shootouts.
Mm-hmm. 22.
Two touches and hit it. Yeah, God, that was.
Okay.
Zach got out there. Mm-hmm. What was it? What did you not want to see from a goalkeeper? What did you want them to do if you were taking these?
I think when they didn't come out fully, that they were a little more conservative. And I remember Campos was tough because Campos will go down and bounce back up right away. So it was tough.
Yeah, I didn't like when they stayed on their line a little bit and stayed on the 6 because there was you didn't feel like there was a commitment, and then they would come out at the last minute. I'd rather have them come out a little bit and then be able to beat them, like Tab was saying earlier.
Peter was pretty good too at the shootouts.
First shootout attempt for a MetroStar, Peter Vermees. Mark Doherty is in net for Tampa Bay. Vermees tries to move on.
Not this time.
Not this time.
And we stand
Two misses. Two misses.
Peter just couldn't get it away. He kept going straight on down the middle. Doherty kept coming at him, and when Peter committed himself,
My pads
Doherty
are out.
looked him in the eyes and just got down and got a touch on the ball. Peter doesn't look up in time. Now he looks up and he sees he tries
You
to
next,
shoot
Tab?
over the keeper. The keeper gets the touch on it.
next up for Tampa Bay, the man who was a veteran,
Pittman.
Patrick Bissell, in the
Pittman.
Scottish
Oh,
League.
this guy.
That is Steve Pittman, the defender.
He shoots from there direct.
He's gonna flip it up, huh? Yeah.
That's the see.
See, and then
Look,
you
look.
come back, and then then you have to technically
That's
you
tough.
gotta hit it perfect.
And that's what Tab said. You know, if the goalkeeper stays, it's like you're wasting time.
What was you had a countdown clock on these, so you couldn't just mess around forever. How long?
5 seconds, if I remember correctly.
Chip it up and see if Thornton would make a break towards the ball and make a break out to try.
Why
So
does
if you dribble the
Hernandez have a
goalkeeper-
solid front jersey and everybody else has the half and half? Am I crazy? I feel like everybody
No.
else has the half white, half black, and he's got the all black.
That's a good
I
question.
think he changed it. She changed it during the game.
Takes him. There it is.
That's how you do it right there.
That's the way to do it.
That's how you did it as well, no, Tab? But to the other side.
Big save, Thornton.
That's it.
The Venezuelan. Oh, you
Come
went for the
on,
cheeky.
Gio.
You went
Come
cheeky.
on. Look.
Should have flipped it up and gone for the bike. Yeah, Roy's been in those situations once or twice. 1v1.
He's a great finisher, yeah.
This is it right here.
Whoop, that's it.
It's coming.
That's the winner, no? No, not yet.
He missed, so we don't have our next one.
Would that have been you, Miles?
Which was.
Look
I
at the
believe it was
celebration.
me.
I think so, Miles.
Yeah. Because I was standing next to you.
That was fun,
Well, that
guys.
was a great game. That was
yeah,
a
that
great
was
game.
fun. That was fun to relive that with
Yeah.
you.
I
What-
like
what-
I
better than
thought
what
I was going to be. I thought I would be really disappointed with what we saw. I was going to be like this. I thought it was a great game. It was
Yeah,
really
a lot better
great
than
game.
what I expected. A lot better than
Yeah.
what I expected, I tell you.
Yeah.
Maybe we were very demanding back then, you know, because it,
I guess so.
it,
I
it
guess
looked
so.
a little bit
It's true.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch.
Gotta feel good to relive that. May 4th, 1996, MLS Classics Remix. Of course, we do this every Wednesday and Friday here at the MLS YouTube page, as well as MLS Facebook. Remember, Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Charlie Davies, Susanna Collins, and Quinn92 doing their thing. MLS Idol, Soccer's Hidden Talents, had some good stuff so far. I enjoyed Keegan Rosenberry banging in some trick shots with his pitching wedge, I assume. Some different contestants this week. Diego Valeri. You guys know him well out in Portland. Looks like he's going to be singing with Connie. Mateus Rossetto. Also, I see the top of a guitar there, so we have double American Idol style going. Stephen Fry, I think, is that a piano for him? And then Andrew Farrell, I have no idea what he's going to do. So tune in 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. Should be a really fun one. Gio, have you heard that voice? You and Miles? Diego got a good one?
Yes. Yes. Very good. He plays the guitar very well. He has some very good songs. And, some rock, old-fashioned songs that, are pretty good.
Okay.
I'm not
All
going
right,
to throw anybody under the bus here, but Gio might need to get on this show with his piano
Really?
playing. Yeah, I'm
You're
just
that-
going to
you're-
say that.
Okay, all right, Renaissance man, Gio Savarese. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a really fun afternoon, just reliving history with you. Best tomorrow as your teams return to individual training. So hope everything goes well for you, and I hope we're seeing you all on the sidelines and your team's playing on the field real soon. All right? Have a great afternoon.
Thank you for having
you,
us on.
Andrew.
Thank
It
you.
was
good to see you.
It was a lot of fun.
See you, Miles.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
See you
Goodbye.
guys. Good seeing you.
Thank you.
Bye.